Welcome to another episode of Free Mind Thinkers. And here in the think tank with me, I once again have my little brother Frosty and the lady of the group, the fine doctor herself, Miss Honey. Welcome to your first recording here of the Free Mind Thinkers. She is a founder, she is an original. So she welcomes you. I welcome you. Welcome to the think tank. Please say hello to everyone, Dr. Honey.
Hi, how's everyone doing? Hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to having a robust conversation. I am a licensed professional counselor. I am a professional who has a doctorate in psychological studies, so I look forward to talking to everyone.
And since we are going to discuss um, the Uvalde incident, the school shooting, I figured what better time than now to have you on it because there has
Right.
been a lot of conversation, a lot of blame being thrown around, um, and but amazingly enough, very little pointed at the shooter or the events surrounding what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we can take this 100 different ways. So let's just dive right into it. There has been an uptick in mass shootings over the last 2 weeks. So what do you think about that? Just off the top of your head, from the shooting up in Buffalo, New York, to the
Mm-hmm.
shooting in the nail salon here in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
down to the shooting in Uvalde, and let's not forget that the week before that, the shooting that happened at the outside outdoor watch party at the Milwaukee Bucks playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of bullets flying, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people shooting.
Yeah.
Uh, so, give us your 2 cents, Dr. Honey.
Well, first off, there is definitely a crisis with mental health. We have conditioned ourselves to just continue to do what's necessary to function. We work, we go to school, we associate, but it's just there's an increase in disassociation with common human values, and part of that has to do with someone else's right of life. And the individuals that are committing these crimes, who are executing other people, are them themselves feeling that they have lost their right of some of those human privileges, which is happiness or family or whatever has been robbed from them. And instead of getting help or being acknowledged for needing help, they're taking out, personal justice. And part of that is them making other people suffer for something that they had nothing to do with. So there's definitely, I would say, an epidemic of mental health crisis going on because we want to address the items used in these crimes or the problem, but not the person.
See, and that's where my little 2 cents. See, you got the high dollar education. My 2 cents,
High dollar.
my my 2 cents, street education and common sense. That's where it goes. One of the things that is being constantly addressed are stricter gun laws, gun laws, gun
Hmm.
laws, gun laws, gun laws. I
Yeah.
I was talking to Frosty earlier when I let it be known it was a group of 13 individuals, including myself, and well, not including myself. I take it back.
Hmm.
13, not including myself, and we're holding a discussion about the incident in Uvalde. And one of the things that shocked me is when we were talking, how many people have no idea how much gun control there actually is. Um,
Mm,
Out of the 13 people, only three of them understood or knew that there are gun checks when you, I mean, background checks when you go to buy a gun.
Well, that's the same equivalency of people not understanding there's a difference between a mental health therapist and a physical therapist. They hear the word therapist and they just lump it all together to assume there's just one type of person who does one type of thing. And people
Yeah.
don't they're not allowing themselves the privilege to become knowledgeable about things that are not a part of their day-to-day function. And that's the problem, the horse blinders, so to speak. People put on horse blinders because it's safe. And when that safety is disrupted, when the blinders, metaphorically get slapped off their head, they panic. They're not used to being able to see the things around them and the effects that their lack of choice and decision is having on the society as a whole around them. So they're panicking. And when you panic, you immediately go to the person who's yelling the loudest, who looks the strongest, and who's going to quote unquote keep you safe. And for some of these people, that's Big Papa government, and that is Granny Pelosi and a lot of the other individuals who are going to decry the very detailed set out legal structure that not only looks at the psychological health, because when you buy a firearm, they're checking your mental health history. If you have a history of chronic depression, if you have a history of schizophrenia, if you have a history of anything that has been psychiatrically diagnosed and are medicated for, they will not, I'm not going to say not, because there's always a way to get something if there's something proven to not be benign or consistent. But you are confidently not going to get a firearm because you have shown a history of psychiatric break. So there's already things in place to deal with that. We already understand that, people aren't perfect. There are people that get guns that have anxiety. That's a normal feature, part of our society. We have anxiety. Anxiety has its own abilities to keep you going and also make you have hindrances in your life. But again, people had their blinders slapped off. Big Papa government, can you keep us safe? Tell us what to do. And then we have a cycle of repeat of, okay, more gun control.
And in my 2 cents, it reverts back to the founding motto of what the free mind thinkers believe, and that is listen less and learn more. When you say Big Papa government, even before Big Papa government, I'm going to put it on media, on the mainstream media. They
Mm.
have the bulk of the people believing, oh, everybody's running around here all willy nilly. It's the Wild West shootout. You can literally get a gun from a vending machine. If
Hmm.
you listen
If
to the
only.
mainstream, if you listen to mainstream media, that's the kind of fear they perpetuate. That's what they have you thinking. Oh, we need this, we need that. Okay, we already have background checks. Check. We got that. And you already have very stringent laws, particularly here in Texas. People don't know that because they don't want to learn that. They let the media tell them what's going on, and without, taking the time to research it for themselves, they believe it is pretty much the wild, wild west without understanding that the laws that they have in place don't stop things like Uvalde from happening. They don't stop Sandy Hook from happening. Things
Mm-hmm.
like that don't stop Buffalo from happening. That I refer to this point about, who, man, many years ago. I I was talking to a uh, a Secret Service, United States Secret Service agent.
Ooh, privilege.
I know, right? Um, he had been on the force about 11 years, and he used to come to a club I used to work at. And the crazy thing about it was this: when I was, talking to him about his job, he told me something that sent absolute chills down my spine. And he said, Tuck, in all honesty, if a man decides to sacrifice his life in order to kill the president, there is very little we can do. If a man is willing to give his life to take the president's, there's nothing you can do to stop that kind of individual. The parallel being with all the only people that obey the gun laws are the good guys. Gun laws don't stop the people that are intent on doing massive harm. They don't. So
Well,
having the laws to say, hey, don't do that. Okay, if I do it, like you just said, if people want a way around it, they'll get a way around it.
right. And some of the, if we're being looking at both sides of it, the reality is the perspective that people are trying to go off of is if the law removes the option of availability of the gun, then that's going to stop the person who may get it illegally from even getting it. Because if it's not in circulation, then we're safe. But I mean, that will be that's completely ignorant. That's ignorant because that is like saying just because a vintage car is no longer being sold, no one can buy one. Well, that's just not true. You can always find someone with that vehicle, and it's just a matter of a price. So it does come back down to the logic or the rationality of remove the availability of option. It sounds good in theory. A lot of these things that are being provided to the public by media, but also I would argue this, the media is only providing what the public is asking them for. So we have to look at the dual side of the corruption here, which is people have a lack of sense of self, a lack of sense of worth, and instead of being able to ask themselves, what and why am I in this position? What and why do I feel this way? Any of that, they're they're emoting all of this anger and hatred, and they're wanting that 5 minutes or 10 minutes of acknowledgement or acceptance from the world. But in fact, they're going to not only tarnish their own name, but they're going to tarnish the name of their family, and they're not going to be remembered the way they intended to be remembered. So definitely, definitely understanding that people are going to continue to get on this soapbox and decry guns in general. That's going to be the reality. Just like people will continue to get up on soapboxes and decry violence in video games.
Oh yes, because they are blaming video games for this too.
Absolutely.
They blame video games also for the thing in Buffalo. They blame
Mm-hmm.
video games. And it's the most I'm talking to you calmly now, but if you would have heard me on the phone with Frosty earlier, it was I get very irate. I have a very low tolerance for stupidity. Very low because stupidity
Mm,
is a choice. You people choose to be stupid. It's like insanity. More gun control, more gun control, more gun control. What is that
right.
actually going to stop?
But in retrospect to that, it's not that they are stupid or dumb. They lack awareness of now our blinders are off because again, when things like this happen, the blinders get slapped off. You ever seen a spooked horse? It
Yeah.
goes crazy because it is trying to figure out who are you? What's going on? How do I get to safety? Can I get to safety? Are they going to hurt me? So these people had their blinders slapped off, and now they're trying to find who and where can I get safety and help. And the handler, aka Big Papa Government, is trying to unspook the horse with foolishness. So you got Big Papa Government trying to control people with foolishness, and they're feeding them hay, right? However, you got people that have the wherewithal to understand how real world works. Real world says I have to protect myself because I can't always rely on the intrinsic interest of the government to also look at my intrinsic interest. So when we look at that in retrospect, the reason as a mental health professional that we teach coping skills, similar to, again, we're trying to unspook the horse, we teach that not to stop the fact that you are reacting. We teach that so you can stop and react appropriately so you are not spooked any longer. So we teach those things to stop the spook feeling and now rationalize the situation so you can make a better choice rather than just run around and just kicking and bucking. So when you're getting fed these things and someone's trying to feed you, I would say the apple, right? Because that's what horses they get off on that. That's their, oh, something sweet. They like the taste of it, right? So if we look at it in retrospect, if someone's trying to give me fruit and actually give me some sustenance and something sweet and something I can really gravitate to, I'm able to kind of understand, okay, I need to calm down and process this better. And I hear what they're both saying. How do I feel about it? So when we have people that aren't doing that processing, that rationalization, I've calmed down, I'm not letting anybody be my handler, I'm able to make a better choice and realize, oh, it wasn't the fact that this person was able to just go randomly buy a gun. It's the fact that this person had a mental health issue that had been very, very much so present for
Yes.
months.
Yeah.
And no one, because again, remember, we got blinders on. We're always walking around with those things. The blinders are on everyone, and no one took the time to look at the other human's need because their own needs were taking prevalence. So this gentleman took the opportunity to not only end the life of his grandmother, he ended the life of innocent children and adults. So again, this is all a part of the rhetoric that's being built, which is we need control. The word that is key to the argument is control. However, as a mental health professional, the key is not control, it's stabilization. If we focus on stabilization, then we can give more attention to what we determine as a collective to be controlling the issue.
That's going to do it for this segment of Free Mind Thinkers. If you like what you heard, don't forget to hit that like button. If you want to hear more of it, go ahead, hit the subscribe while you're at it. And please feel free to comment on anything that you hear. And as we always say here at Free Mind Thinkers, listen less, learn more. Don't forget that you can find us on all your social media platforms: Getter, Gab, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute. And we are podcasts on several media platforms. Make sure you check out full episodes there in the podcast section or wherever you may get your favorite podcasts. Until the next time, y'all stay up.